Before we begin, imagine being 6 years old, alone, afraid, locked in a place no one knew how to find, until a retired police dog, discarded, forgotten, heard the echo of a heartbeat no one else could. If you believe in unseen heroes, in bonds that defy commands, in rescues that change both lives, like this video to honor the quiet protectors, share it with someone who knows the weight of fear and the power of loyalty, and subscribe to stay close to stories where courage has 4 legs and never walks away. The warehouse had been abandoned for years, peeling paint, shattered windows, a silence so thick it felt like the building was holding its breath. Somewhere inside, beneath rusted pipes and flickering emergency lights, a little girl sat huddled behind a stack of crates, knees to chest, arms shaking. Her name was Lena, 6 years old, missing for over 24 hours, too young to understand the why, old enough to understand danger. The man who took her had left hours ago, but he promised he'd come back, and when he did, he wouldn't be alone. Then, a noise. Not boots, not voices, claws, slow, deliberate, moving through the dark like a shadow made of muscle and memory. Lena held her breath. From around the corner, a shape emerged, low to the ground, scarred, eyes burning gold beneath the grime. A dog, not just any dog, a retired police K9, once known as Axel, discarded, labeled too old, too damaged. But tonight, he was exactly what someone needed. And when he found her, he didn't bark, he didn't lunge, he sat and waited. Because that's what real protectors do. Lena loved quiet things, ladybugs, wind chimes, the way her mom's sweater smelled like warm bread and rain. She lived in a small apartment above a corner grocery store. Just her and her mother, Maya, who worked 2 jobs and carried exhaustion like an invisible coat. They didn't have much, but Lena never asked for more. She played alone most days, drew dragons with sad eyes, read library books about animals that saved lives. She liked stories with heroes who didn't talk, just stayed. On the day she vanished, Maya had let her walk the short path home from school. 5 blocks, broad daylight. But Lena took a shortcut. She saw a puppy flyer taped to a lamppost. Lost dog, please help. She followed the arrows drawn in marker, turned 1 corner too many, and then a van, a hand, a voice that smiled with its teeth, but not its eyes. The door slammed. The city didn't notice. But someone else did. Someone with a nose that never forgot the scent of fear. They called him Axel. K9 Unit 114, German Shepherd. 7 years on the force, 15 apprehensions, 8 child rescues, 1 mistake. It wasn't his fault. A raid, a misfire, a handler who hesitated. The boy didn't make it. Axel had been first to reach him, but too late. After that, he changed. He stopped responding to commands like he used to, stopped wagging his tail when the badge came out, stopped sleeping through the night. They called it trauma. Compassion fatigue. They said he needed rest. A family. What he got was a kennel. He paced, didn't eat, didn't bark, until one night a storm hit. Lightning, sirens, and in the chaos of power loss and unlocked gates, Axel walked out, not like he was running, like he was looking for something or someone. For 3 days he crossed roads, train tracks, alleys. People saw him, tried to catch him, but he kept going, until the scent hit him, the kind you never forget. Terror, sweat, plastic zip ties, child. He followed it, all the way to the warehouse, and when he found Lena, he didn't ask why, didn't need to. He just stayed. Lena didn't move. She barely breathed. The shadows of the warehouse stretched like claws across the concrete. Axel stepped forward, slowly, softly, each paw placed with silent precision. His head low, body angled sideways, non-threatening, but ready. Lena's wide eyes met his. She'd seen dogs before, but never one like this. He looked old, tired, powerful. His ears flicked as he scanned the space behind her. She thought he might growl or bark. He didn't. Instead, he lay down, right in front of her, blocking the open doorway, his body her shield. Lena blinked. A tear slid down her cheek. "Did someone send you?" Axel didn't move, just watched, listened. Then, a sound. A door creaked open. Footsteps, heavy ones, coming back. Axel stood, tail straight, chest lifted, and for the first time, he growled. Not loud, not messy. A warning sharpened by memory. He moved past Lena and positioned himself at the center of the aisle, between her and whatever was coming. The man stepped into the warehouse, muttering to himself, a crowbar in one hand, a phone flashlight in the other. He didn't see Axel at first, just the beam dancing over crates, walls, shadows. Then, a growl, low, pure, deadly. The man froze. "What the—" Axel stepped into the light, eyes locked, body still. The man took one step back. Axel took one forward. The crowbar rose. Axel lunged. It wasn't chaos. It was calculation. He hit low, sending the man tumbling backward. The flashlight clattered. The crowbar flew. A scream tore through the air. Outside, a woman walking her dog heard it and called 911. Inside, Lena watched, trembling, tears on her face, but not from fear, from awe. Axel stood over the man, teeth bared, breath heavy. He didn't bite. He didn't need to, just waited. Until flashing red and blue lit the broken windows. Police stormed in, guns drawn, voices loud. They froze at the sight. A little girl, a man face down, and a German shepherd standing guard like stone. One officer gasped, "Axel!" Another whispered, "He's been missing for 3 days." Lena crawled forward, wrapped her arms around Axel's neck. "He's not missing," she said softly. "He was looking for me." The precinct was quieter than usual. Lena sat wrapped in a blanket, sipping cocoa that had gone cold. Axel lay at her feet, eyes closed, one ear twitching with every hallway echo. Then the door opened. Boots. Slow, familiar. A woman stepped in. Military posture, gray streaks in her braid. Sergeant Helen Brooks, retired K-9 supervisor and Axel's first trainer. She didn't speak at first. She knelt in front of him. "Still following your own rules, huh?" Axel opened one eye, then lowered his head into her palm. Lena watched. "You know him?" she asked. Helen smiled. "Know him. I trained him before he knew how to bark properly." She sat beside Lena. "He was always different, not just smart, aware. He didn't follow orders. He followed hearts." She looked down at Axel. "When Daniels died, something broke in him. They called him unpredictable, said he was finished." Lena stroked Axel's fur. "He's not finished." Helen nodded. "No, he's not. He just needed someone to give him a reason to stay." She placed a weathered tag in Lena's hand. "K-9 Axel. Protect, even when unseen." "If he's chosen you," Helen said gently, "he'll never unchoose you." Lena didn't answer. She just clutched the tag to her chest, and Axel stayed right where he was. Lena didn't want to go back to school. Not yet. Too many stares, too many questions, too much she couldn't explain. But the first morning after the rescue, she woke up before the sun. Axel was already sitting by the door, waiting, as if he knew. She put on her shoes. No words, just a leash and a nod. They walked through quiet streets, past the alley where she used to freeze, past the park she hadn't entered in months. Axel didn't pull. He didn't lead. He just walked beside her. And when a passing car backfired, Lena startled, body tense, eyes wide. Axel stopped, pressed against her, didn't move until she exhaled. That afternoon, Maya sat with the principal. "She's scared." He looked at the window, where Axel and Lena sat beneath a tree. "She's not alone." By week's end, a new policy was approved. Therapy K-9 access, emergency exceptions permitted. Lena returned to school. Axel returned with her. At first, he sat by her chair. Then other students began coming closer, one by one, drawing him, reading to him, petting his ears like a wish. And Lena began to speak, not loudly, but with purpose. "He didn't just find me, he saw me, and that changed everything." Lena no longer counted days in fear. She counted them in routines. Wake up, brush hair, feed Axel, walk together, breathe together. At night, she no longer checked the locks 3 times, no longer curled up with a flashlight under the covers. She simply reached one arm down from the bed and felt Axel's fur beneath her fingers. His presence said, "You're safe now. Sleep." Her drawings changed too. No more shadows in corners, no more bars or locked rooms. Now there were wide fields, tall trees, a dog standing proud beside a girl with wind in her hair. One weekend, her class visited the fire station. Sirens used to make Lena freeze. Now, she didn't even flinch. Axel stood beside her. She raised her hand. "I used to be afraid, but then someone found me." The firefighter crouched. "Your mom?" She shook her head. "A dog." The whole room paused. And Axel? He just yawned, like it was no big deal. Like saving a little girl's life was just part of his day. By spring, they weren't just a girl and her dog. They were a team. Lena and Axel began visiting the children's shelter every Thursday. Some kids smiled right away. Others hid behind furniture. Lena understood both. She never pushed. Neither did Axel. They just stayed. And slowly, little feet approached. Tiny hands reached for Axel's fur, and soft voices whispered secrets into his ears. One boy asked, "Does he talk?" Lena smiled. "Not with words, but he hears everything." At school, Lena created a project called The Dogs That Stay. Posters went up. Kids brought in photos of their pets. Some had none, so they drew Axel. One morning, her teacher pulled her aside. "We'd like you to speak at the assembly. About him. About what he did for you." Lena's hands shook. Her voice trembled. But Axel stood by her side, as always. And when she stepped on stage and looked out at the hundreds of faces, she didn't run. She spoke. "He's not just a dog. He's the reason I'm here, and sometimes that's everything." Lena no longer needed someone to save her. Now, she was the one walking beside others through their dark places, quietly, patiently, like Axel had taught her. She volunteered at the shelter every week, helped new kids settle in, started a journal club called What Makes You Brave. She wore Axel's old canine badge on a lanyard, not to show off, to remember, to carry the part of him that never stopped protecting. Axel, now graying around the muzzle, moved slower, but he was still sharp, still listening. At home, Lena had a box labeled Then and Now. Inside, her first drawing of him. The collar tag Sergeant Brooks gave her. A crumpled flyer about the day she was found. And a photo. Axel standing tall, Lena beside him, both facing the river. She once feared that water. Now she walked its edge every week, sometimes alone, sometimes with Axel. She told it, "I'm still here, and so is he." That was courage, not forgetting, but walking forward anyway. Some heroes bark, some just stay, and some never leave, even when the world does. Axel wasn't trained to love. He was trained to protect. But somewhere along the way he learned that sometimes the two are the same. And Lena, she didn't just find her voice again. She became someone who listens, who stays, who shows up, who understands what silence means, because she once lived inside it. Together, they proved a simple truth. Healing doesn't come from noise. It comes from presence, from a heart that stays when everything else runs. And in that staying, we find our strength. Not all rescues are loud. Not all heroes wear badges. But the ones who matter, they come back for you, and they don't leave.